Hey, everybody, how are you today? Good morning. Steve Georgie here, Ben Bryce, bringing you your Midday Mayhem. Uh, Big thing is, Ben, tell me what's going on here. What's going on in these markets?
Well, right now the ag markets I think are fairly quiet, and I think most of the headlines that we're seeing right now are coming off the CPI number we got this morning. A lot of people or most of the market was expecting a slight cut, and there was no change.
Yeah.
So yesterday we had a lot of the outside markets very strong, up quite a bit, and we're seeing a lot of that set back. And what I'm thinking we're seeing a little bit coming into more of the markets that we trade is a little bit of just overflow, a little bit more pressure coming in. You have some positive headlines though for the wheat market. Less acres being harvested, around the world, and that could be something that maybe long term we look down the road for this wheat market to maybe gain a little bit of strength.
I mean, we need to find something, don't
Yeah.
we? I mean, it's tough. It's tough right now. You got the funds at a almost a record short position for what? For corn, for beans.
Yep.
Not so much for wheat, but
No.
maybe that's kind of the start where the wheat market's going to have to carry the corn and the beans out of this.
And we've seen that before a few
Yeah.
times, right? And that might be something that does kick this market off. But keep in mind too, you have the funds, like you said, that are near their record shorts, and they've been adding to it. And we've been talking about that for a few weeks, and they're getting closer and closer. So while the funds are getting short, you also have hedgers and a lot of the buyers of the grain actually looking to be, they're actually near their record longs.
Sure.
So while you have the funds that are short, you have these guys that are long, we typically see them in inverse. So when the funds tend to get to the bottom, that's when you have the producers and merchants at their peak. So if we start seeing that inflection start happening, that could be something that this market does take into account, and that might be another thing along with the wheat that gives this market a little bit of life.
It just feels like you said, giving it some life. It feels like there has to be some kind of fundamental change.
Right.
Because right now you're talking what, 2.2 billion carryout for corn. You're over 300 million carryout now for beans. That projects lower. You're hearing some people just throw these price targets out there. But the thing is, though, is that we really aren't going anywhere right now. Yes, we know that a 2 billion carryout number is bearish, or 300 million is bearish, but yet the market's not reacting to any of this. So it's kind of
sideways for like 3 weeks about. You've just been kind of chopping around here, and corn, it has been making some new lows.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's blowing them out of the water. You're going a few ticks or a few cents below, and then it kind of, there's not too much follow through that.
Yeah.
You're not seeing it fall out of bed like you would expect with a massive carryout.
Yeah.
Of this size.
Not only that, it's the dollar stronger today, right? As you started this off, CPI numbers, and you look at some of the outside influence that we typically would have into our markets, and the dollar's stronger, but yet we've kind of stopped reacting to a lot of this.
Yeah, you're at a weird point where you think all this bearish news would beat these markets up. That's not really the case. You think all this bullish news that would come in, or potential bullish news, and the first one being the dollar, would help these markets out. And
yeah,
we were keeping this flat line sort of trade that's frustrating because, you have a lot of guys that have a lot of grain in the bin. They're waiting for some sort of pop to get in to start selling to make those cash sales, and we haven't seen that.
What are you telling producers right now?
Right now, looking at producers wise, I mean, if you're going to be getting to the point where you're having to start making payments and you're going to start making sales, which is great, but you got to be careful with that because you're getting to the point where a lot of guys are doing that, and you have these merchants that are prepared, are getting preactive, getting long, because they know that they're going to need to be buying that grain too. So when you're doing that, look on the board. What can you do to protect that in case you waited 2 months now into the year to see a little bit of a bounce? We haven't gotten there, so maybe look at getting some long strategies on the board to protect your risk in case you do see that later on.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for my guys right now, is to be, make those sales if you need to.
Sure.
But definitely be looking on the board to how can we take advantage of this balance we haven't seen yet, but we may see as we go into planting when there's a lot more news coming out in March. We got some major reports on that.
Is there any other market during this mayhem session that we got? Is there any other market that you're watching, whether or not it's the energies? Is it,
Energy's fun. OPEC, you got a lot of headlines coming out of there. But the energy markets right now, I mean, everyone's talking about this big storm out east. That was supposed to be this big thing, and you'd expect to see natural gas to catch a little bit of a bounce, but
it didn't.
It hasn't.
And natural gas looks tough.
Right. That's that's a tough one. And I
Yeah.
was looking at a chart today. You're sitting at a price level that has been basically a support since the 90s.
Yeah.
And you look at that line all the way throughout, and we're getting right there. So what is it going to take for this market to kick into gear? You would think a big major storm out east, but I think that storm really wasn't quite what people were expecting, and you're just not seeing that reaction there. Livestock as well. I mean, you had these live cattle looking at, you got up to these price targets that were made. You
Yeah.
got some gaps and unreversed closes that were made during the fall of last year when this market was falling out of bed. Now you got up there, you kind of filled some of those gaps, and now you're starting to peter out. That strength really, just isn't quite there where it was 3 weeks ago.
For sure.
So be careful about that. Now, this livestock market might have some more bullish stories in it in the long term, but like any other healthy market, it might need to take a little bit of a step back to look for, and maybe that's an entry point for some people.
We're getting a little correction here today, and we've seen it the past few days, and kind of see where things end up going. But just want to thank you for listening in here today, and Ben, thanks for coming on again today as well. But if you guys got questions, we're always here to help you out. 1-800 the number 2 market 1-800-2 market, or check us out right on the hub, allendalehub.com. Hope you guys have a great day today. We'll chat with you all very soon. Take care.